Zoe of the Pins and Needles podcast. My name is Zoe. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Pins and Needles UK. If you check the drop down box below, you will find all of the show notes and links to my various places, including obviously Facebook, Instagram, my Ravelry designer shop, my Ravelry project pages. What else will you find? You'll find links to my coffee account. Thank you very much to everybody who's bought me a coffee recently. I'm filming today's episode on my fancy pants new tripod, which you paid for, so thank you very much. You'll also find links to the Knit Tea Retreat and Cartref Yarn, which are two wool-related businesses I run with my best friend Jenny of Owl About Yarn. And I think that's about it. Welcome back to all of my regulars and a great big hello to anybody that's new. Thank you for giving me a go. I was worried I wouldn't have very much to talk about today. I've been doing daily vlogs for quite a while now, and although I tend not to talk too much about my projects and my works in progress in there, I wonder if I've run out of news to share with you. But anyway, a quick bit of admin. I wanted to let you know that although the June Knit Tea Retreat has unfortunately had to be cancelled, that weekend we will be having some virtual events, which are of course open to absolutely everybody. So on this, let me just check the dates. Saturday the 13th of June, there will be a virtual sit and knit with Jenny and I online. We're going to provide our own tea and cake, and I hope you will join us in that. And we'll have a live, I'm not sure if we're going to do it in our Facebook community group or live on Instagram, or possibly both, depending on IT issues. But if you keep an eye on the Knit Tea Retreat Instagram account, all the details will go up on there very soon. And then on the Sunday, we normally have a Sunday afternoon marketplace, which of course we can't do either. So we're going to be doing a virtual marketplace. And what's lovely is we've contacted all of the vendors that had ever sold with us at any of our retreats and invited them all. And answers have started to come back in, and they're all super keen to join in. So it will be a really nice virtual marketplace. Again, follow those social media accounts if you want to take part in that. What else? Oh, yes. And I'm still posting workouts over on the Dave's Gym YouTube channel. For anyone that doesn't know, when the government allows us, my husband and I run our own gym in Cardiff. And because obviously we've had to shut down quite understandably for coronavirus, we've resurrected our YouTube channel. So I'm posting body weight and kettlebell workouts. Dave's doing some workouts, and there's also, we do a Monday chat segment, and we've done books before and podcasts before, and last Monday we posted sort of the start of the Dave's Gym origin story. So if any of you are interested in that, there's a link below as well. I am wearing today my Boxy by Locatelli. I knitted this in some of Jenny's yarn, which is Owl About Yarn Tweed Owl in the colourway purple. I think I need more 4-ply jumpers. They're a really lovely weight for sort of spring, well, and summer, given that it's Wales. I have got a vest on underneath so that I can show you my finished object in a minute. Okay, let's start with finished objects. And first on my pile is my new design. I spoke on one of my daily vlogs. It might have been Fridays, I can't remember, I'll put it on the screen. That daily vlog was about my design process. And sort of the software I use and the systems it goes through and things like that. So if any of you are interested, you can always hop across. But I didn't talk a huge amount about the design in particular, and this is it. So anybody that's been watching for a while knows that Cartref Yarn, which is our 100% Welsh wool yarn business that we source all the fleece for ourselves, we introduced in April our 4-ply weight of it. And Jenny and I both wanted to get cracking with some knitting patterns to go with it. And Jenny's still working on hers, but hers is bigger than mine. I quite sensibly chose something compact. So this is the Journey Cowl, and I knit this in the main colour, the green is Forest, and the contrast is Naturiol, which is our undyed yarn. And I called this the Journey Cowl because it is a colourwork story of the physical journey that we go on to produce our yarn. So it'd be a bit easier if I fold this in half so I'm not juggling things. So the first motif at the bottom is waves, because I live on Barry Island, right on the coast of South Wales. And then next up, you've got these zigzags, and they're there to represent the hills and mountains that we drive over. Whenever we go and buy fleece from our Mid Wales depot, we have a road trip together, and Wales is mountainous, so that represents those. This one in the middle is stylised shepherd's crooks. We purchase our fleece through our Welsh depot, but they are a part of a whole of the British Wool Marketing Board. You heard a sneeze? That's Jocelyn. She'll be making an appearance in a minute, but she's sat on a chair just over there. So yeah, we've got shepherd's crooks in the middle because the Wool Marketing Board logo is 2 crossed shepherd's crooks, so that represents the depot where we buy the yarn. Then we've got chevrons. Now, anyone familiar with UK road signs will know the black and white chevron signs you get for tight bends in the road. And once we've picked up the fleece from the depot, Jenny and I drive deeper into West Wales to get to our mill, where the fleece is processed. And so these chevrons represent all the twists and turns on the back roads of Wales. And the last time we were driving a long wheelbase Ford Transit van, so it was a bit hairy, I'm not going to lie, but we did it. And then the very last motif at the top, this sort of lozenge pattern here, that represents the rollers that are in the machinery in the mill. So that represents the processing from fleece to finished yarn. And then you can see I've just spaced out with this little peary design all the way through. So it's just a circular cowl. Oh, do you want to see my backside, as it were? There you are, look. There's my floats. It's worked out to about a 25-inch circumference. And I can't remember how long it is. Maybe about 12 inches. It's all worked in the round with a bit of rib at the top and the bottom. It's a really nice beginner-friendly colourwork pattern because you don't have to carry your yarn. If you work colourwork over more than 5 stitches, if you have to carry your yarn more, it's advisable to weave it in as you go, but that's not the case here, so it's nice and simple. And because of the clever way I've designed it, can you just see I've carried the contrast yarn up the inside, so you don't have to cut your yarn at all, so there's minimal ends. And I could even put it on for you, couldn't I? The thing is, I've got 84 clips in my hair trying to control my terrible lockdown haircut that's growing out. And there we go. So you can have it sort of up quite high, or if you wanted to, you could fold it and zip your coat up over the top of it to make it much more snug. But yeah, it's not choky feeling. It doesn't sit too close to your face. And I really enjoyed knitting it. I've called it the Journey Cowl. I can't remember if I mentioned that or not. And it's currently, I've just had the first version of the pattern back from my tech editor. So I'll be starting to update that on Monday, and then I'll send it out to my test knitters. I've got 5 fabulous test knitters waiting in the wings, and I'm going to release this pattern on Sunday the 14th of June for the virtual Knit Tea Retreat Marketplace, and it will be available to buy through my Ravelry store and also via the Cartref Yarn website. If you sign up to my newsletter, which is linked down below, I'll email everybody a discount code. I always do that with new patterns. That discount code will definitely work on Ravelry, but I don't know if it will work on the Cartref Yarn website. Jenny's done wonderful work migrating us from Etsy to our own website, and I'm not sure what the discount code options are on that. But there you go. So that's my finished object. I'm really pleased with it, and it has taken up most of my knitting time since we last spoke. But I have also finished my little waves cardigan. I think the last time I showed this to you, I had ends to weave in and the button band to finish. I don't think I'd done the button band. So this is the Little Waves pattern by Gudrun Johnston. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry. And it's the first time I attempted a saddle shoulder. I don't know if you can see it a bit better on the back. Yes, you can see the line there where you get the saddle. I knitted it in Cartref DK, again using the Naturiol colourway, and it's got these panels of travelling twisted stitches, which I absolutely love. The shawl collar has an I-cord bind off, which was time consuming, but gave it a really nice finish. I haven't yet put buttons on it. It's got 5 buttonholes, and it's the first time I've done the one row buttonhole technique, which I thought was really good. Gives you a really nice firm edge. And originally my goal was to get that finished in time to work our booth at Wonderwall, Wales. But of course, again, that was cancelled. And the plan was to wear it there and then go and visit the Textile Garden stand, which is a brilliant button stand, and choose buttons to go with it. I'm a bit reluctant to buy them online. I'll probably just wait. I did have, again, another daily vlog where I took you through my button jar, and there's a possibility I've got some bronze vintage buttons for my great aunt Daphne that might work. So I might sew those on and see how they go, because you can always take them off again if I find a better choice. But I've been wearing it absolutely loads, which you can tell because there's a used tissue in the pocket. And in the interim, I can always use a shawl pin just to catch it at the front. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that. The fit is lovely. In terms of, it sits nicely on my shoulders, but you know, having a central button will help with that. But yeah, I've worn it loads and it's going to go with everything in my wardrobe. So it's been over a year now that Jenny and I have been producing Cartref Yarn, and it's taken us this long to have enough stock that we can take enough yarn to knit ourselves a garment. So I'm really pleased. It means, weirdly, it means a lot that I can have a jumper out of my own yarn. So I'm really, really pleased with it. What's up next? Works in progress. Okay. Going back to designing, when I design a pattern, I usually never end up with one for me, because if I knit, obviously you have to knit the item up for photographs, and then it tends to be the case that I keep them nice as samples for the stand. So of all the socks I've designed and published, I don't have a single pair that I get to wear. So I decided that for the journey cowl, I was going to have one too. And while my head was still in the game, I just thought I'll cast on another one and keep going. So I'm not quite halfway through another one. And this time I've gone for Coron, which means royal, which is this lovely purple. And again, the Naturiol as the contrast colour. I did weigh all my yarn before and after, and you need about 60 grams for the main colour, and a 20 gram mini should be fine for the contrast. And a couple of my test knitters, I'm really hoping, will go for something completely different. So rather than 2 solids, it would look lovely with a gradient as the background colour, or a speckle, something like that. But yeah, so I'm busting along with this, and I'd like to have both finished for when I take the photographs, so that you can see it in different colours and just make the pictures look a bit more interesting. So I'm trolling along with that. In terms of needles, I'm knitting it on 3mm needles, and I've just got some fixed 16-inch circulars. They're Knit Pro Novas, so nice and slippy. So that's one work in progress. I have put some more work on my Honeybee Dance socks. Oh, I didn't bring the pattern over. Doesn't matter. The Honeybee Dance socks are a design by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade, and I've had these in my queue for ages. I think I bought the pattern in December, but it's just taken me this long to get through everybody else's socks. So the yarn, sorry, rummaging, I am knitting them in is Jenny's yarn, which is Owl About Yarn. It's in her Sparkle Owl colourway, Rumpkestiltskin, which is a 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon and 5% stellina yarn. And I've got, oh, that's coming up lovely. So it's this amazing tonal mustard sparkly yarn. And I knit myself a jumper out of this, and I had a skein left over, so I earmarked it for socks. So I haven't touched these for about a week, I don't think, because I've been busy knitting like the wind on that cowl. And I think the last time I showed you, I had just finished the leg. So as you can see, it's some twisted stitches and then a honeycomb cable and then this lace pattern which looks like bees' wings. It's absolutely beautiful. And I think I just finished the leg last time we spoke, and I've done the heel flap and heel turn, and I'm most of the way through the gusset. I'm really enjoying knitting these. I do need to keep an eye on the pattern chart so it's not a brainless knit. I need a new brainless knit. I might have wound some yarn for a new jumper cast on, but we'll talk about that next time. And this little progress keeper is one of my favourites, and it's a little mug of tea. And I mentioned it the last time, and it's by another Welsh maker. She's based up in the valleys in Merthyr Tydfil, and she is Chapel View Crafts. And I know that since I last mentioned it, a few of you have been over and bought from her. She sent me a lovely message saying, "Thank you very much for mentioning me on your podcast." And I said, "You're welcome." So that's that. I might pick that back up today, actually. I've got some audio podcasts to catch up on. I've got Mrs. M's Curiosity Cabinet, latest one. I've been saving that for Sundays. And there's a couple of Louise Scolley's wool work podcast episodes that I need to catch up on as well. When I was winding yarn yesterday, I listened to one where she went to visit Jameson and Smith's in Scotland and interviewed two of the people that run it. So I really enjoyed listening to that. My next work in progress, I have and haven't enjoyed working on. What's the name of the pattern? These are the Bonbon Mitts by Joji Locatelli, and they are the mitts on the front cover of this issue of Pom Pom magazine. This was summer 2017, and I think it was their birthday issue. Yes, it was their 5th anniversary issue, so it's got lots more patterns in. And I need new fingerless mitts ready for autumn, and that just looks like the most lovely pattern. And I had a gorgeous skein of yarn that I've been aching to use, and I treated myself and I hand wound this yarn. I sat down one evening to watch TV with Dave, and I just slung the skein over my knees and hand wound it, and I've ended up with the most beautiful, look at that, isn't it just pleasing? Absolutely lovely. So this is Nice and Knit DK. It's a superwash merino wool in the colourway Nantucket. There it is, look. And this was a present from a friend of mine, Kathy, who is also my tech editor. And I wanted to knit some mitts, and I wanted to use this yarn, and I've got as far as just starting the gusset, the thumb increases for the gusset. That's how far I've got. It is knitting up beautifully. It is the most pleasingly chubby, soft yarn, and the colour is just gorgeous. That's another Chapel View Craft Progress Keeper. That's a party ring biscuit for anyone that knows the UK. And I'm knitting this up on 3mm DPNs. And again, these are Novas, so they're really slick. And once I finish talking to you, I am ripping this out. I love the yarn and I love the look of the pattern, but it is just way too much of a faff. It's all in twisted rib, and often twisted rib is knit one through the back loop, purl one, but this is knit through the back loop and purl through the back loop. And knitting it on 3mm needles when it's a DK yarn, plus all those twists, and I just got to the point where she wanted me to purl two together through the back loop, and I thought, do you know what? No. And the yarn is just too lovely to hate knit, because I will be knitting loathing into every stitch of these if I carry on. And it's also quite hard on my hands. I suffer with rheumatoid arthritis, and most of the time it's fine, but this was setting my hands off, and I just thought it's not worth it. So the pattern is very well written. It's, you know, it would be a lovely finished item, very clear, very easy to follow, just not right for me. So I will be ripping these out and finding myself another pattern. But at least it got me to wind the yarn up, because I've been aching to knit with this for months. So it's not been a waste at all. But yeah, I will have a frogging party later on, I think. What have I got next? I now have a guest podcaster for you. Jocelyn Carter, come on down.
I'm coming now.
If I scooch over a bit.
Well, I'm not gonna... Should I just kneel a bit?
Yeah.
I apologise for my appearance.
This is Jocelyn, my girl.
I am a girl. Yeah.
And ages ago I taught her how to knit, and she didn't really fancy it very much. And then randomly 2 days ago she came and said, "Have you got any yellow wool?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" "Because I want to knit a hat." And I said, "Right." And she said, "Yeah, I've been watching this brilliant podcaster on YouTube." And I was like, "Oh, have you really? Have you? Did you?" And she was like, "Yeah." I said, "Was it me?" "No." So I was like, "Well, okay, fine."
I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Well, you were talking about your lovely jumper that you made. I am sporting.
Oh,
My
gratuitous foot shot.
Yeah.
Look at these. I made these for her. Actually, we went running, and you were wearing those this morning when we went running.
I had a shower. I'm good though.
Okay, so show the lovely people
Yes.
what you're doing.
So this is my beanie hat, because I have an outfit planned out. I have like a nice jumper. It's like my grey one with the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've cropped it because I don't wear long jumpers. And then hopefully I can find some blue dungarees, and then I'll wear a yellow hat with it. And I think that's like a good outfit.
We could sew dungarees.
We can make dungarees.
You know, I said we need to find you a sewing pattern for your textiles thing.
Mm-hmm.
That can totally be dungarees.
We can make dungarees.
Next week, there might be a sewing segment. Anyway, do you remember what the pattern's called? I did write it down.
I don't know.
It's the classic Tuft Hat by Purl Soho, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. And what are you knitting it in?
Cartref Yarn wool.
Cartref DK, and the colourway is Ire, which means gold. So she's on Knit Pro Novas as well. And she's got a little teapot stitch marker, which Jenny gave to me. You got to riffle through my whole pot of stitch markers, didn't you? And that's the one you chose.
It was very pleasing. I do it all the time. Like if I'm bored in the front room, I'll just look through your stitch markers and be like, "Ooh."
Oh, will you?
I don't nick them, I just look at them.
There you are, you can have that back. But you're very nearly at the decreases for the top, aren't you?
Yes, then you just knit two together, right?
Yes, there's a rate of decreases that bring it in. Are you going to have a pom-pom?
No, just a plain...
No?
No.
Oh, okay. Controversial.
Sorry. Maybe a attachable and detachable pom-pom.
You can get some with poppers on, yeah, but I don't have any.
Poppers?
Well, yeah, you sort of, so you can clip them on and off, like if you
Yeah.
want to wash it or if you want to swap out your pom-poms. I know.
Mix and match pom-pom.
But you're doing really well. It's looking nice and even. And what have you got? A couple more rows before the decreases?
I'm on 4. This is my 4th, and then I gotta do 2 more, and then I gotta decrease. But I'm not used to the whole, like, don't, you know, when you knit and you go like that,
Yeah.
I push it down with my finger, and now my finger's getting a bit sore.
Oh.
So, you know, I'll put a plaster on,
Just
knit.
Just push through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you'll develop a callus.
Ew, like
I
Conrad with his
don't
guitar.
push the needle through. I sort of smoosh the stitches along. So I sort of, rather than pushing the needle through, I push the yarn off, if you see what I mean.
Any needle pushes out there,
Oh, there's loads, yeah.
comment down below.
But I mean, this is the first thing that you've knit this much of. If you see what I mean. So you'll develop your own, you'll find the technique that works best for you and things like that. But I think it's going to look really good. Will you come back next time and show them your finished object?
If it's finished, then of course.
Well, I record every 2 weeks, so I'm sure it'll be done in 2 weeks.
I've been knitting non-stop. It's a very, like, for the ribbing,
Yes.
I remembered that. For the ribbing, I had to focus because I would like mess it up every now and then. And I did like the first 5 rows, and I had no clue what ribbing looked like, and I was so proud of myself. And you came along, and you're like, "Well, I'm gonna have to rip it out because it's wrong."
That's not what I said. I said, look at you, you're doing moss stitch.
I was like, "No, I'm not doing ripping." And you're like, "No."
I was like, you can carry on in moss stitch, or we can go back to ribbing. So I fixed it for you, didn't I?
Yeah.
That's fine.
I'm
then.
changing positional. I'm sorry.
Well, have you got anything else you need to say?
Subscribe.
Thank you very much. Well, there you go.
Jim's also here.
Yeah, he is. I don't think I can angle the camera
Okay.
quite right for Jim. They'll just have to make do with knowing he's there in the background.
Also, I'm almost out of yarn. I've got like a little
nub. Yeah, I've got another half a skein that you can wind up. I'll do the hands thing.
I was thinking like maybe like that position.
You
with
could,
the feet, like,
or round the back of 2 chairs. Anyway. Anyway. So that's the end of Works in Progress. Up next, I actually have a spinning segment. Haven't spun for a while. And a while ago, Blueprint, the online crafts place website, made all of their classes free for I think a couple of weeks, just as part of their generosity during coronavirus shenanigans. And I finally got round to watching a spinning class that I'd heard great things about. The instructor is a lady called JC Boggs Faulkner, and the class is from worsted to woolen. And the point of this class is she takes you from the true worsted end of the spinning spectrum to true woolen and every stage in between. And I really fancy having a go at long draw. So I watched the class but didn't actually get going with the spinning, and then the free period of time ended. But I bought the class yesterday, day before, something like that. It was £18 sterling. I don't know what that is in dollars, 20 something or other. And decided I really had to get on with having a go. I know how to spin short forward draw. That's my default spinning method, and I'm reasonably good at it. I'm not brilliant. I'm still quite a beginner spinner, but I can cruise along nicely and I can produce a yarn that I want. But I wasn't doing anything different. And the reason I'm reluctant to push myself with spinning is in case I waste materials. I'm quite prepared to have a crack at anything that's knitting, because if you make a pig's ear of it, you just rip it out and you can start again from scratch. No harm done. It's not the same with sewing, and it's not the same with spinning. You can fix mistakes to some degree with spinning, but it is harder. Plus, I didn't quite have all of the fibre types that I needed to do this class. And what I've decided to do is start with, I think there's 6 lessons, something like that. Start with each one and just work my way through them. So she starts pure worsted, which is short forward draw. So this morning I got up and I had a go at that. Now I know how to do short forward draw, but I wanted to practice my joining technique, and she had some tips on that. And I also wanted to try short backward draw, and I had a go at that. I wrote myself a little list because nothing motivates more than ticking stuff off a list. So short forward draw I can do, and she gives you tips for being able to spin across the top. When you have a big, I should have brought one with me. Anyway, there's one bit I didn't have a go at because I didn't have the right sort of fibre with me, but I did short backward draw and I did practicing my joins. And I also practiced being able to get my yarn thicker and thinner as I went. She had quite some really good tips for that. And I just came up with this little mini. This is just 10 grams of mystery fibre that I was sent by a friend for an Advent swap at the end of last year. And it's a bit inconsistent on purpose because I was practicing drafting more and less fibre, and it hasn't been soaked yet. And I think it's more than slightly overplied. My singles kept breaking as I was trying to chain ply them. But I'm pleased with myself for just getting on with it and having a go, because it's not something I'm very good at. I'm a bit of a type A person when it comes to crafting. So this is the start of my spinning course. So you've got to hold me to it, that I have something else to show you next time. I have included the details of the class down below if you want to go and have a look yourself. It really is very good. On to acquisitions. Oh, I forgot to bring one thing with me, but never mind. I've been after a skeiner, which is not exactly like a Swift, but similar. I'll put a photo of it up here. Jenny has had one for a while, and she uses it for reskeining yarn, either her Owl About Yarn stuff or the Cartref stuff. And it was just going to be handy for me to have one here so I could do the same. And Jenny is an internet wizard, and she found one on eBay, I think. So I've got an Ashford skeiner now, which is fabulous. And speaking of Jenny, she very kindly bought me some presents as part of the virtual Wonderwall. And it's all connected with spinning, which is marvellous. Now what I've got here, you can see it through the crinkled packaging, is, I think it's 100 grams. Yes, 100 grams of Hilltop Cloud Cambrian fibre in the colourway Mine. Now, our yarn, Cartref Yarn, is our own blend, and it's about 67% Welsh Mountain, and the rest is blue-faced Leicester. Welsh Mule, I beg your pardon. And Welsh Mule is itself a blend of blue-faced Leicester and Welsh Mountain. So although I've knitted, obviously, with our yarn, I haven't spun any fibre that is Welsh Mule, and that's what this blend is. This is, the fibre itself is produced by a cooperative of sheep farmers called Cambrian, and it's top, so you get a lovely range of colours, and it comes in a strip like this. So when I was talking about spinning, practicing spinning across the top, it's the ability to spin in a zigzag across the top like this, rather than just constantly down one edge. It allows you to preserve colour progressions in yarn if the colours are in chunks, like say a self-striping is supposed to be, rather than just ending up spinning all down the side. So there's 5 lovely colourways in here, absolutely beautiful, really love those. And she also treated me to 200 grams of fibre from John Arbon Textiles. It's the Devonia blend in the Pollen Gold, and the Devonia blend is a mixture of Exmoor Blueface, Devon Blueface Leicester, and Devon Wensleydale. Now Wensleydale is a long wool and I haven't tried it before, but it's the most beautiful yellow, gold, almost orange with these bits of charcoaly black in. And again, this is top as well, combed top, so perfect for woolen spinning. And again, I can practice zigzagging across the top of that. So thank you very much, Jenny. I was wondering, I'm taking part in Tour de Fleece, which starts in June. And I might, my goal might be to try and spin this up to practice that technique. Ooh, it's exploding out of the packet. Oh, and now I've lost my show notes. There we go. Oh, and the other acquisition I had was the April Knit Crate yarn. I've already given it to Jenny. I just thought it would be lovely for her daughter in a finished object. So again, I'll put a picture up in this corner. This is their Uru yarn in the colourway Ruby. It's a sport weight yarn, and it's 70% merino, 20% nylon and 10% stellina. So it's extra sparkly. Sparkle yarn normally has 5% stellina in, so this is double sparkle. Just for the purposes of transparency, I'm part of their ambassador scheme. So they send me this yarn for free with the expectation that I will talk about it on my podcast and my social media. I don't get told what to say about it, that my opinions are my own. And if you check the link down below, there will be a personal link of mine to the Knit Crate website. It is an affiliate scheme. The details are all down below, but it's a monthly subscription box. And it's just fun to get sent yarn in the post as a bit of a surprise. So feel free to click through and have a look at that. Yeah, so these are 2 skeins of sport weight, and I thought actually it might work up nicely to a hat and scarf set or a small cardigan or something for Erin. She's 7 or 8 years old now, so 2 skeins of sport weight will go quite a nice way. And now there's just a bit of chat left. And like I mentioned, I sort of feel that the chat's been covered with my daily vlogs, but in terms of what I've been up to, obviously filming lots of videos for the Dave's Gym workout channel, and Jocelyn and I have started the Couch to 5K. I did it years ago. I'm not normally a huge fan of running. I'd rather do weightlifting, but Jocelyn wanted to give it a go, and it's always nicer to have somebody to run with. So we just started week 3 this morning, and neither of us have died or thrown up, so I'm calling that a success. I've been busy with my pattern design. I finally got round to clearing out the cupboard under the stairs, which was pretty disgusting, but much nicer now. Yeah, and other than that, we're all doing fine. We're getting a bit fed up with being stuck in. Dave is very ready to go back to work now. But in the UK, there's been a slight divergence between England and then Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. England is starting to ease its lockdown. Wales is not. I think we've got another 2 weeks of the current lockdown and then they'll reassess it. And from what we can gather, gyms will be one of the last places to fully reopen, which is quite understandable. We are, however, hoping that when they allow exercise outside with people not in your household, that will mean that we could start doing personal training again, because our gym has a back garden, effectively. It has a yard. So once the government allows that to happen, Dave can get back to work, which would be good for him as well as our bank balance. And yeah, we can exercise with people safely, sticking to the social distancing rules and all the rest of it. So we're really hoping it's just another couple of weeks. I think the kids have had enough and they're desperate to get back to school as well. But I suspect that Jocelyn will be the only one that gets back. Conrad's just finished his GCSE courses, so there's not much point in him going back in for the last 2 weeks of school. Max has just finished. When he goes back to school, he will be starting his GCSE courses. So again, he's just finished a load of subjects that he's not going to be continuing with, so he's probably best off left at home. But Jocelyn is partway through her GCSEs, so she might get caught back in. But yeah, other than that, I'm keeping busy, I'm keeping well. I've decided not to do daily vlogs for the time being, partly because it does just take an awful lot of time. I know that you've been enjoying watching them, and thank you so much for all the comments, but I needed a bit of a break. And also, I mentioned last time, if not the time before as well, I want to do these crafters, mobility and stretching videos for you. And I'm running out of time with doing the daily vlogs as well. So daily vlogs will be on hiatus, and hopefully in this coming week, I can start working on the mobility things. And of course, I'll let you know all about those when they're ready to go. Okay, I think that's just about it. Please give me a thumbs up and click subscribe. It really helps other people find the channel. Check the down box below for the show notes and all of the links. And I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Bye.